What's going on, guys? I'm Jay the Black. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. I want to talk about actress Nia Long. At least she did an interview and she made some very interesting comments, especially in regards to marriage. Now, currently, she's engaged, and before this engagement, she was in another engagement, and she has children out of those engagements, and we're going to get to that. But apparently she's okay not getting married. Engagement is good enough for her, okay? And this is, I don't know if this is a realization she's come to now. I truly believe that women change their minds if the people around them are able to change theirs. Because I honestly believe that she gets in relationships with guys who don't really want to pursue marriage with her. Because if those guys really wanted to marry these women, they would have. Now, I will say this though. I do think that there are women out here who don't want to get married. They say they want to get married, but they don't want what comes with marriage. Marriage is a lot of responsibility, and you have a lot of lazy daters out here. You have a lot of people who are very lazy when it comes to not only relationships, but marriage as well. Marriage is work. Not saying that you have to work every single day. Well, I mean work. I mean, it takes understanding. You have to get to know the person more and more mentally, like who they are. You're living around them. You're around their family members. You're around friends of theirs. And you got people who may be more introverted or closed off. They don't want to get to know that other side of that person. You know, they have their own needs, and they put their own needs and wants ahead of everything else. Now, that may have been Nia because she's never been married before. She admits it. Now, you would think that somebody would have married her by now, but oh no, she's just been in these long engagements. She's been in these long engagements, and she has been able to 2 kids out of it by 2 different guys that she was engaged to. Now, you have to ask yourself the question, if you're Nia Long, is it your career, or is it the fact that you truly don't want marriage? Because I think, honestly, there are women, when they look at marriage, they look at it as it taking their freedom away to do what they want to do. They want to be able to have an out when it comes to the relationship, or they may feel like they are with men who financially are not what they are, or socially are not what they are. And they know that if they marry that guy and where he's at, then there's a good chance that they not only won't get anything out of the divorce, that he may be able to get something out of her. I know some of you don't want to believe that, but I think that also goes into the thinking as well. So it could be both elements. You know, it could be the fact that he may not want marriage. It could be the fact that she really doesn't deep down doesn't want it, and she's admitting to it now because I guess, you know, she's 49 years old. She has 2 kids. People are wondering, you've been engaged twice. Why haven't you been able to get married? And I think that may be her way of saying it's because I really don't care about marriage. I don't need marriage to validate me in my relationship, you know? Now, she says that she doesn't have to get married, you know, to prove anything. She doesn't have to prove anything to anybody else. I can believe that. I can definitely believe that. But I think that there are a lot of women out here who may look up to a Nia Long, and they may wonder, why isn't she getting married? You know, what's wrong with marriage? You know, maybe I should get married. Because you know what's the crazy thing is that people want to put all the responsibility of marriage onto men. No wedding, no womb. But there are women like Nia who don't want to get married. So what do you say about those women? And they've actually procreated kids out of these engagements, and they are now saying publicly they don't need marriage. So is Nia Long opening a Pandora's box of women, especially women who are considered successful, who say, you know what, I don't need marriage? It's not just the men that don't want it, I don't want it either. And that is probably an area that people have not explored, because yes, there are women who don't want marriage. Now, I will say this though, what is the point of getting engaged if you're not going to get married? So that's why I believe that this isn't just 100% Nia saying I don't want marriage. I truly believe that Nia wants marriage, but she's willing to go without it because it's due to the men that she is with, and those men may not want marriage. They may not want it. And so she is resigned to the fact that it's just not going to happen. She's 49. She's with this guy she's been with for a while. They've been engaged for a little while. They have a kid together. She's saying, you know what? I'm good with where I'm at. You know, because I tell you right now, if the guy that she is with now said, you know what, I want to get married, I think she would change her tune. I truly think that she would change her tune on it. Now, she talked about how love is complicated, right? So I guess love equals marriage. But is it complicated, or are you in denial? Is this just a way for you to be in denial about your situation and the fact that you're with somebody that doesn't want to marry you but gets engaged to you in order to make you happy? Because there's a lot of women that wants to be able to walk around with an engagement ring and be able to show it off. It shows that the relationship actually went somewhere. It's not an entanglement. It's not a no label situation, because it just seems like a way to say, you know what, we got somewhere. You know, we got somewhere. It may not be marriage, but we got somewhere. You know, I think most women these days don't actually want marriage and are confused. And I think that it shows. Once again, people want to put all the responsibility of marriage onto men, but I have heard women tell me that they turned down the marriage proposals of men before. But they want to make it seem like we're just not out trying to marry. Now, again, I'm not the biggest proponent of marriage. I really am not, especially from a male's perspective. I'm just not a big proponent of it. But I just think that it's always looked upon us as if we're withholding the rings. But you have women out here who don't want to get married. They don't see any value in it. They would rather just be in a situationship, especially older women who really don't have a choice, because a lot of older men are not checking for older women like that. They're not. And you have a lot of but you have single women, older single women who are a bit delusional, and they think because they still have their looks and they still have a nice body that they're going to be able to get these guys to marry them or be in long-term relationships with them, and it doesn't really work out that way. You know, and they're left feeling very bitter towards men, not understanding that you had years before and you probably turned down countless marriage proposals because you wanted to be in them streets. You wanted to have your freedom. You wanted to be able to go and do what you wanted to do. Now you can't go back and blame men for that. You have to blame yourself for that, because I've heard women brag about the marriage proposals they've got that they turned down. So it ain't just the men not offering, it's the fact that there are women who turn them down because they want to be free. They want to be able to run these streets. They want to be able to do what they want to do. And there's no different than with Nia Long. Now, she also said marriage isn't a priority for her, which I can believe. She still wants to be able to do what she does career-wise. She's comfortable in her situation. But again, if it doesn't work out between her and the guy she's with now, you can't blame men for that, because you've already admitted that you're comfortable in your situation. So if you're comfortable in your situation, you have to look yourself in the mirror and say, am I doing the necessary things possible in order to make myself happy, to put myself in the best position to be successful in relationships or to be able to get a marriage? You know? Now, I was thinking this as well when I was looking over this. Is she a broken woman? You know, she may be. You know, we don't know her past. You know, we don't know how many men she's dealt with. She's been in some long engagements recently, but before then, when she was more and more in her prime, earlier in her acting career, we don't know how many dudes she went through. Okay? We don't know. So I think that actually takes a toll on a woman. You know, who a woman is getting with and how many guys she's getting with, it takes a toll on her. I mean, ask Megan Good. She even admitted to it, that she, was in these streets and it took a toll on her mentally. That's why she went and married a pastor. And the same could be said for Nia Long. Now, I don't know if she's broken. She seemed like she has herself together. So I don't know if I would go broken, but you can look at how she views men in relationships. There could be something there, Now, I also saw this comment come up too in some of the responses I saw, especially from women. They don't like the fact that she went and had kids while she was in these engagements. They're wondering why she did not wait until she actually got married. I mean, it could be quite simple. I mean, she wanted to be with those guys really badly, more than they wanted to be with her, so she had kids with them. Both of the guys who she thought she was going to marry, she had kids with them. Is that a coincidence? It could be because she thought the relationship was going good, so she saw it as an opportunity to go ahead and have kids with them. Listen, you shouldn't really have kids with anybody that you're not looking to be with long term. I think that's the problem, especially in the melanated community. Also, I think that traditional marriage or traditional relationships are out the window, especially for celebrities. You have a lot of celebrities who have relationships that are quite open. They're a little bit different than the norm, but what is normal? A lot of relationships, no matter if the celebrities or not, are open. Doesn't take being a celebrity to have an open relationship. Most of these people out here in open relationships. Most of these regular non-celebrities engage in the same behaviors as celebrities. The only difference is the money aspect, the social prestige, so to speak. But you have a lot of these, civilians who are married in relationships. They out with a whole, you got married women who are still in these streets. You got women in relationships who are in these streets. Okay? So people can say, well, these are celebrities. Y'all engage in the same behaviors too. So we can't just say as celebrities when y'all doing the same things. Y'all relationships ain't monogamous. Most of these relationships nowadays ain't monogamous. Come on, man. Especially if you're dealing with a guy who is known to deal with a lot of women, or you got a female who may be, attractive. She has, I wouldn't say a big following, but she has good enough notoriety on social media. Come on, man. Y'all think these relationships are monogamous?